again. It's been, I guess, a couple of days since doing this, or talking about this rear subframe assembly. So yeah, you saw that I kind of tacked together these little blocks right here. Got like a little pointy thing. This pointy thing. So, and these are also just pieces of the same rail, and that's exactly the height I needed to space it up at. It's absolutely shorter. These little bungee hook things that swing out, which are kind of cool. I mean, as far as just like an absolute simple little bungee hook thing that turns in, and that, well, actually that does turn in completely, and locked with tension. Well, the back one does it. Yeah, so I need to gain a little bit of clearance here, and so I'm going to be trimming this lower section up, and then boxing it all in, and then boxing the front of this square tubing in. But I got it all freaking straight, mostly. I mean, from rail to rail, there's maybe like a 1/16 of an inch difference in length overall, and I can live with that. And it was a little twisted from welding and re-welding. God, I don't know. This must have been like this is the third time I've kind of assembled this whole thing together, but I've had to widen these rails, top and bottom here, the stock FZR rails, wider to accept this TZR850 rear seat subframe. So this has gone through a lot of different welding, and it was not completely level, as you can imagine. So I had to get out some big bars and just retweak it straight again. And now, for all intents and purposes, it's straight, front to back. It's this is level with this, with the engine. So everything is now leveled up. I need to finish welding these pieces of square stock and do a little trimmy trim on them. So yeah, in addition to that, since it's shortened again, I've got a TZR850 seat unit, and this is much shortened, and still, I mean, there's still a considerable amount of space for the rider to sit. It might be compromised a little bit shorter, but still, I think I'm golden as far as that goes. What I've also been trying to noodle on this is the fuel tank. Now, the standard FZR fuel tank. Let's grab one here. This is essentially what it is, and it kind of mounts in this section, this area right here. It sits right behind the carburetors, and it does kind of like a little mass centralization for the frame, which is good. It allows for like kind of an airbox area in front of the carbs and the headstock. And it's pretty good. What it did though is when Yamaha made this engine was kind of like the forward-thinking thing, because Yamaha, instead of placing the gearbox like right behind the crankshaft and the engine and everything like that, they did this thing called stacking. And since then, almost all the motorcycle manufacturers have kind of followed suit, which further compacts the engine. The gearbox, kind of rotates a little bit higher and closer to the engine block, which shortens the physical size of the engine. front to back, but it makes it higher. And so the FZR400, it had a traditional gearbox kind of placed low and behind the engine. And it was a small little assembly, so it could be that way. Same with the FZR600. But what it does is it forces this gas tank to sit up about like almost an inch higher, maybe 3/4 of an inch higher. So it forces it up higher overall. And I was completely prepared to accept that. I kind of modified all the ancillary frame bits and supports to hold that. And you know, Yamaha uses like a plastic fuel tank cover that gives sort of like, you know, this is how it would sit, you know, on the standard bike. But on this, it kind of pops it up a little bit higher. And so, you know, it's not perfect. And that's okay. And I was able to deal with it, but I started thinking, like I do, and I was wondering if, like, say, like the successor to the FZR600, the YZF 600, I was wondering if one of those gas tanks would fit, and I was able to find one. They're a steel tank. They've got like, you know, a large vacant, or a large kind of molded out area for the airbox. And so I picked up one of these off of Craigslist, and you know, kind of dropping one of these on allows it to sit pretty darn close to the frame, which I like. One of the things that it does nicely is typically the old style fuel tank. I mean, it was kind of like a thing with 90s period motorcycles. Is there was typically kind of a long stretch out to the bars. And I have that on the FZR400, which I've shown. And it's all right. I mean, it is definitely noticeable, but kind of another common practice of more modern engineering motorcycles, it's that way on my Honda RC51, is they've tried to shorten the gas tank so that the rider is more forward in the chassis, and you know that you know kind of does more of that mass centralization, and also it reduces the stretch that a rider, you know, has to be completely craned over on a sport bike, and it thus makes the rider just more comfortable in general, even if the clip-ons are kind of low on the triple clamps or the handlebars. A lot of people don't. Yeah, they're called clip-ons on motorcycles that mount directly to the fork top tubes. So this tank it's actually a pretty attractive tank, and I think I might go that direction. What it is going to require is I need to create new mounts up here for it to mount to. And I was thinking about, you know, doing something where it pivots at the top here, and so it's kind of locked there. And you know, you can unbolt it from the back and tip it up and prop it up for servicing the engine and doing oil changes and stuff like that. And you know, doing carburetor synchronization and stuff like that. So I think I might go with this, and sort of in its position right there, we can put this abbreviated seat into position. There. You know, is that on? No, it's not on. Turn There we go. Now it's on. And you can see how I've kind of cut and added and bent and whatever. So yeah, it will. I was going to recover this. It's not going to look like this. As is. That's kind of what the seating would be like on this, and so I mean it would work. I would have to redo that, but I also have a Corbin seat that I haven't touched, and so I might butcher that one in pursuit of redoing this. Anyway, let's take this all apart and move into the garage so we can do finished welding of all this stuff, and let's knock that out. Bing, bing! All right, so here we are. Time to do some welding. God darn it. Okay. Well, we will need that. Okay, I've been cutting up little patch pieces to go on the backs of these pieces of square tubing that I've cut and ground and shaped. Up to 11. Too much. That's another what happens. start welding in earnest. Let me know if I catch anything on fire. No, pretty gosh darn straight. Okay. Time to grind a lot of this excess metal off. Don't have a TIG welder. I do have an oxyacetylene welder, and I'm starting to learn how to use that more, but I just wanted to get this done, therefore we MIG welded it. Okay, here we are. Back in the man cave. So yeah, the subframe here is finished welded. I linished back. I ground with a sanding disc the excessive volume of the MIG welds, and just gave it a clean up and a quick spritzing of some bare steel primer. Ugh. And I just, out of curiosity, I bolted on the rear fender to the back of it, and I wanted to pop on the tail section so you could kind of see a little bit of how this is going to look. Okay, yeah. And if you want to see the seat, kind of mounted in there. this on first. Isn't that perfect? Isn't that beautiful? Key, unlock, seat. There we go. So that is sort of how this motorcycle is going to start to evolve and turn into. Mount that a little bit higher like so. Anyway, that's progress for today. Thank you for joining me, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow.